Warning. The following podcast contains nicotine, fat clouds, coarse language, and other adult shit. It is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is advised.
So we're here with
Omar Salem of Salem Scientific.
Nice. And where are you guys based out of?
We are in Orange County, California.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yep, not too far away.
We're in Orange County, New York. So we were like, whoa, you're right by us.
Opposite end there. Opposite end.
The other Orange County.
The warmer one.
Yeah, definitely. We came out of snow for this.
For sure.
So you're going to talk about terps with us? Because we want someone who knows their shit about terps. We've been talking about it all day.
Definitely. So that is really the big play, really at this conference for us at Salem Scientific. We've been perfecting terpene extraction for over 6 years now. Our core competency is education. We're really well known for the clear class and teaching distillation and extraction techniques from start to finish. But kind of this side project, there's the education, there's the equipment. The side project has always been, and really the project that's near and dear to the heart has always been the terpene extraction. We have a unique way of extracting terpenes. We use a Apex CO2 machine. They're awesome. We kind of modded out a little bit to meet the requirements that we need, and we use a couple different inert gases, so not just CO2. And
what are the other ones?
Freon actually is one of the other major components. And
is that the chemical that makes air conditioners?
Yeah,
pop?
absolutely. And it's totally, it evaporates and is totally inert just like CO2, and you can recover it as well. And it really preserves, again, we're looking at the finest, lightest essence, not only of marijuana. We have CBD and hemp, and I mean how similar it does smell to marijuana now.
Oh yeah.
We call it type 3, right? This is type 3 weed. It's like stuff smells exactly like the real thing.
All right. So what's type 1 and what are type 1 and 2?
Type 1 is marijuana. Type 2 is machine hemp, and then type 3 is this new hemp that smells exactly like weed.
Is it hemp that had more terps added to it to make it like resemble?
No, they're growing these strains. I mean, they're growing like these Bubba Kush strains, and they're just they've crossed it enough times to where the hemp is showing under legal limits, and the terpene profile and the look is exactly like regular.
It's just the real strain, but doesn't get you high.
Yeah, and so it's just really interesting.
That's
so
cool.
This is the type 3, and we're doing terpene extraction on all of it. Literally, if you have some plant material,
like a
in
biomass,
your hand, if you have it in your hand and you kind of crush it and smell it, that's exactly the terpene that you're going to pull, or that we pull in our process.
So maybe you can explain to the gang, the CBD gang, that's our friends and followers, what exactly terpenes are, just in case they don't know exactly what it means.
Yes, definitely. So we don't really know what in the plant is, fighting the cancer, doing a lot of these, medical miracles. And so one of the ideas is that, it's not just the cannabinoids, the CBD, the THC, the THCA. We think that there's a high probability that it's more of the terpenes that are playing a greater role in, fighting cancer and fighting these various diseases. It happens to be that marijuana is just so stinky. It's like, if you think about the stinkiest plants in the world, lavender's pretty stinky. Pine trees are kind of stinky. That's where we get pine sol, right? From distilled pine trees. marijuana, and because
Dank.
it's just so stinky.
It's that good dank, though.
It's that good dank because it's so stinky. It just has so many different profiles, literally hundreds of different terpene profiles, and we think that ingesting those terpene profiles, actually eating the essential oil, you take on the protection of the plant when you do that. So the plant's protection is the terpenes, right? And so, why does a rose always stay beautiful? There's no virus on the plant. There's no predator that attacks it. It is that way because of the terpenes. And so we find if we do this extraction, definitely in a cold process, we don't want to use any heat. Steam distillation is out because it uses heat and it
get too hot and it kills the
everything.
terps. It just destroys it.
It kills it. And so we need, because we're using it to, really as preventative medicine. You're eating the terpenes, and just like you use pine sol or Lysol, which comes from
lemons.
No. Lysol is excuse me. What am I looking for? Lavender, right? So lavender.
Oh, yeah.
It's it's kind of the factory version of lavender. So just like that stuff is great in cleaning the outside, our homes, etc. It is also great at cleaning the inside of the body, and that's what we're pushing for out here. Obviously, with the vape scare and everything that's going on, we just can't have anything artificial. It has to be from the plant, and by plant I mean either marijuana or hemp, or again that type 3, and that's going to give you the benefits that.
So gang, the terpene equivalent, the terpenoid equivalent of pine is.
Excuse me, say that one more time.
The terpene that makes that pine smell is.
Oh, pinene.
Right.
Yeah.
And the lavender smell is the terpene called
limonene. Yeah. So and so what we'll see, it's really interesting. Pine salt is made from, pine trees and pine sap, and you distill that, and now you got pine salt.
Right.
So yeah, it's everywhere. It's in every plant, and it's the plant's
terps
protection.
are just everywhere in the vegetable and flowering world.
Yeah, this is great. We're doing stuff again with lavender, with chamomile, with different plants. Again, not just cannabis, and looking at the medicinal benefits of ingesting, using those terpenes.
Me and Ryan, our Cannabinoid chef, went to a
awesome.
a dispensary last night.
Yeah.
And we were looking over the whole menu and stuff, and she was going over why the different terps do different things.
Yes.
And she was telling us that this one vape had myrcene in it, and that gives you more of a body high. Like, the terp itself adds a body high to something that.
Absolutely.
I was so surprised. I was like, wow.
And what we actually see is if you use, we're all kind of familiar now with these artificial terps that have kind of invaded our industry in terms of, flavoring all of the carts. You're
talking about like Fruit Loops and
food
stuff
grade type stuff, not marijuana terps. So or cannabis terps.
Things made to simulate different candies and things like that.
Yeah, those terps do not add any aspect of the high. It's a very one-dimensional high, or it's not as full as smoking the real plant, or if you take the terps from the real plant and add that into the distillate or whatever product, you do get that enhanced, fuller, real.
Yeah,
we call them live terps.
When people talk about the entourage effect and stuff like that, I think of it sort of like hands on a piano keyboard, and it's like depending on what terps are in there is what fingers press down, and you get different different notes, and they affect you. You're hearing it differently in a way.
Definitely.
And it's kind of like that's the way that terpenes can work when you combine them with different cannabinoids. You're creating a different music within your body, and your body will react in different ways. I love that.
This is real. It is real, and it's definitely something that we're going to be exploring in the years to come. I mean, we're just at the infancy.
I know, that's why it's so fascinating to me.
Yeah, we're just at the start.
When I learned about the myrcene,
it's just the start.
When I learned about myrcene last night, I was like, man, what else? We got to find more terps and what they do, and talk to people who your whole business is terps. We talked to someone earlier who was saying, what were the three things? The head, the middle, and the tail, or something? as far as their extraction.
Those fractions.
Yeah, and they said like the head was the terps, and that's like almost garbage. Like that they don't use it.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
it's like why sacrifice those terps?
A great thing. All distillation is basically the same. Big shout out to that show on Discovery Channel where they're running around in the forest and they're distilling out there. I forget the name of the show.
I haven't seen it.
But it's a great show. I mean, if you're curious about distillation.
Oh, you're talking about like distilling whiskey or something?
Yeah, distilling whiskey.
Right.
They're distilling alcohol and they're like running around.
Do you remember what that's called?
Do you remember what that show is called? Where they're out distilling
Moonshine
alcohol?
something?
Yeah, it's like Moonshiners.
Yeah.
It's called. Right. I think it's called Moonshiners.
Yeah,
it's called Moonshiners that are running around in the woods. Yeah, and they're having a great time doing some actually pretty complicated distillations, but they make it digestible on the show, so you can understand how how that molecule is evaporating and how you purify things with distillation. It's really a great show.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's still on the air anymore, but
it's on.
Is it?
I was watching it. Last night in the hotel room.
Syndicated.
Yeah. It's on, and it goes on this.
Like the difference between distilling moonshine to say distilling CBD.
Yeah, it's the same. The molecule. We're just trying to purify the molecule, and we're doing that by creating a vapor. So, for alcohol, when we're making whiskey, we're gonna heat up that mash, and you're gonna gently evaporate the alcohol and collect that and drink it. And we do the exact same thing with CBD distillation or THC distillation. We create an environment where the molecule is a vapor, steam, and then we condense that steam, and that's what gives us the distillate that we're all smoking in our carts and putting in our edibles.
So you hear that, every moonshiner out there who's still trying to like take your skills and your tech, and instead of selling these big jugs of illegal content, sell little 1 ounce things of CBD and make a fucking fortune, dudes.
Yeah,
you've got the technology. Like, it seems like something that a backyard distiller could start doing. Just like,
this is how it all started. In the end, it's people have been distilling for thousands of years, really, and so it's just kind of with technology, we're able to hit a couple parameters: quality, speed, and yield. Right, best quality products, fastest amount of time possible with maximum yield.
When was the first time you tried a tincture or even saw it on the market in the industry?
Man, I've been doing this for a really long time, so I definitely have seen some home tinctures. I grew up in La Jolla, California. We smoked weed before we drank beers.
Yeah.
So definitely, it's been a long time. Definitely over 10 years, 15 years. So, this is knowledge that's been passed down.
It was mainly THC tinctures back then, though. It wasn't CBD. They weren't isolated.
Correct. They
growing
had not,
CBD-rich stuff.
Yeah, they had not crossed the plant enough. There is a harm in that. We are, we're talking on the CBD Source
podcast.
We're getting into the situation where THC remediation is pretty difficult. The vapor THC tends
What
to
is
come in.
THC remediation for anyone?
Well, because all of the hemp has like 0.03,
0.3.
0.3-ish.
Yeah.
0.3. What that means is that's smokable flower, and so that passes.
Yeah.
But when we concentrate things and when we extract things, we're concentrating things. So you're taking that flower that was 0.3%, and now by the time I get it into distillate, my distillate, if I test it, it's going to show 5% THC.
Wow.
Because we're concentrating so many, probably about 20 times down, and then you're left, instead of that 0.3 multiplies and turns into 3, 4, 5%. So this has been one huge obstacle in getting the medicine to the patients that need it without THC
in the legal state.
In the legal, being able to move it
yeah.
around and make it accessible, which we need more, and we need higher doses, and a lot higher doses of CBD over the 10 milligram, 20 milligram, 50 milligram. We're looking at 500 milligram doses. You really need to flood the body with CBD and see where you're at with cannabinoids.
When you say 500 milligram doses, you mean taking that as at one time?
Yeah, we need to drop the price. Like, everybody's arguing and crying about these prices dropping. The price needs to drop more so that we can get more medicine in people's bodies.
You know what we call a 500 milligram dose on the show?
What do you got?
Bristling dose. That's the bristling dose.
That should be everyone's standard entry level dose.
Really?
Yes.
What do you think about titrating up though?
I mean, again, I think it's like endocannabinoid system. I think every person is unique, and every person's endocannabinoid system is unique.
Yeah.
And so I personally require a lot of cannabinoids to fill my endocannabinoid system, whereas other people can, fill that system, so to speak, up with a lot less.
Right.
And
well, you both have a tolerance over the last, since you were a teenager or whatever.
Well, yeah, no, definitely that. But just everyone's different. Everyone is different in that respect. And everyone's got to find out where they're at. And the best way to do that is to start with high doses first and then taper down and see where the effectiveness is going. I think a lot of people get a wrong impression about CBD. It really, really does work. It really, really does. You just got to eat more of it.
Right. Yeah, you do have to.
Yeah, these small doses are no good.
We like to say titrate up, just so you don't waste your.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Say that clean.
Titrate up.
There it is.
That's it.
So we like to encourage people to start low and just titrate up, because otherwise they're wasting money. Like, we don't want people throwing money away. Although I have tried.
I don't want people throwing money away either, which is why we have to reduce the cost of isolate. Like, it's going down. We need it to keep going down so we can just have piles ready for people to eat as they need it, because some people are going to need gram doses.
For what?
For their back pain, their pain, different stuff that's going on.
Right.
Because everyone's tolerance is different in the way they react.
That's true. I guess some people will need super strong dose.
I mean, it works if you put enough on it.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people will take. They'll buy the wrong dose. Like, I had a friend who bought it was like a 300 milligram bottle, and they thought that every dropper they put in their mouth was 300 milligrams.
Exactly.
And they're like, this is not working for me. It's so weak. And it's like, you bought a very weak bottle, and you don't realize how much you're actually putting in your dropper.
I don't like that, because it's a turn up. People buy something, it's expensive, they buy that product, they use it, it doesn't work because the dosing isn't there, and they get turned off. It's a turn off, and they're not going to come back. And really, that's exactly what we're trying to avoid with this podcast.
That's our same argument also with gas station CBD, where people will buy stuff that might not even have any CBD in it. You don't know. And then they go take it home. Either it might have like spice or something that'll make them feel high, like a simulation. And then that's what they will always remember CBD is. It's like, it made me feel weird, or it made me feel nothing.
If we have more of it and it's more accessible and it's cheaper, people will stop faking it.
Yeah.
Right? We're in a big problem in this vape scare because of all the counterfeit stuff that's going on. First of all, if you use real terps and you put a high quality product out there, no one's going to counterfeit you because they can't. Right? And then second, eventually in terms of what happens in the vape market, I mean, it's here to stay. We just have to be responsible about it. Use real terps. Increase those CBD doses, and we need to be eating those terps also. I want to put that out there. Definitely want to be ingesting these terps, and it really will change your life.
Eating them, like putting them in edibles?
Yeah, the ingestion is recommended. The recommended ingestion technique is actually using, you just grab a spoon full of sugar. Literally, a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. Grab a spoonful of sugar. Sugar's a crystal. It's going to absorb the oil, that essential oil, and you can try this at home with lavender or even rosemary or any essential oil. You can use like doTERRA and kind of store stuff, but again, I wouldn't recommend it. Anyway, spoonful of sugar, put the terp on there and eat that spoonful. It's not going to taste really great, right? But what good medicine does. We get that in the body. It's kind of in a lump form in your stomach, and that sugar will allow a slow release of the terpene into the bloodstream. And it really just, I can't say it enough, just like Lysol or Pine Sol cleans your floor and your bathrooms, and it's the reason why hospitals use it over any other disinfectant is because it kills everything. It kills anything that's out there that you don't, and our body loves it. Our body happens to love the terpenes, and it's a cleaner, and so it just makes sense.
We always say we love terps. Anytime someone says there's a lot of terps in this, it's like, we'll go with the terps one. And this is something that probably a lot of people out there might not have experienced just pure terps by themselves.
No, because it's so expensive.
Right.
And again, that's why we need to bring these prices down.
Right.
Yeah.
How do we go about doing that?
We're doing it. I mean, you see there's kind of a reflux of growing and extraction and grow and extraction. And, it's a battle. It's a tug of war. But it's happening. I mean, look at states like Montana, New Mexico. They're growing a ton, more than a ton, right? Just an amazing amount of product.
Mm-hmm.
And we need that to continue. More product will lower the price. We need it to get way down.
It seems like it's getting there, like especially with like farm equipment being built specifically for this now. Like these states opening up new, like expanding and allowing licenses and everything. So it seems like it's really getting out there, and it probably will. When the market's completely flooded, it's gonna go down. There's no choice for it not to go down.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna, again, it will reach a real commodity price, just like every other commodity, wheat, corn, anything else. And when we get to those prices that we can forecast, then we'll be able to get this into every American's hands.
I got one last question. I'll go back a little bit because I wish our vape expert was here, Anthony, but because you keep talking about vape, and we have a whole segment that we do about vape called the Vape Lounge.
Cool.
And we were talking about, I'm wondering what your favorite diluent oil is, like what an oil that is mixed into it, or do you just do straight terps in a vape?
Yeah, we just do straight terps. So we're taking in our THC carts, we're using 99% Delta 9 THC distillate, and using about 5 to 8% at the most, really about 5% of real cannabis terpenes.
Mm-hmm.
And when you use the real terpenes, you don't need, there's all this cut talk and everything else that's going on to make it work in the cart. It's actually such an aggressive solvent. That terpene is such an aggressive solvent that it really breaks down the distillate really phenomenally well, better than any other cut that's out there. It's just very few people have access to real terpenes.
Which terps do you use?
Just whatever strain is coming across our plate, because they're real. We, get material in, we squirt those terps, and if that material is gone, it's gone. That's we want to collect those terpenes when the plant is just harvested and dried, and terp triage. We kind of have our own language in here, and terp triage is one of those. So the plant needs to go in for that terpene extraction really quick, and after that it continues down the line.
Very cool. Well, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Cool. This is awesome. We're going to do this again, and we'll take some shots of these terps. I wish there was a way to get the smell through the microphone.
It's one thing we can't do on podcasts.
Yeah, and but we can get these out, and we'll give you a plug for a place where everybody can order these.
information in this podcast, live stream, video, audio presentation, or YouTube video, or its related social media pages or interactions
are for informational purposes only.
CBD Source Center and the CBD Source podcast does not offer medical advice. Its host, Cole Cheney, is not a medical professional.
His experiences with cannabidol and other cannabinoids
Are his own and may not affect you the same way. Everybody's endocannabinoid system is different. Statements made regarding CBD and THC products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. The efficacy of these products and the testimonials made have not been confirmed by FDA-approved research. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. All information presented here is not meant as a substitute for, or alternative to, information from healthcare practitioners. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product. The Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act requires this notice.